we are on number 11. It says the vertices of a trapezoid are at -3, -2. The next one is 5, -2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -2. And then they have 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 here. And then -2, 3. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're going to make our trapezoid from there. All right, so it kind of looks like that, hopefully on yours too. It says, what is the area of the trapezoid? In order to do that, remember that the area of the trapezoid, some of you do the old way with triangles. I'm going to show you the other way because I think it's easier. You can take base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2. So either one of these, base 1, base 2 divided by 2. We're averaging out the length of the base times the height. Okay, and that's going to equal the area. So let's find the height first. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Height equals 5 units. Let's find the area of the bases. This you have to be kind of careful. Notice, especially since I'm not using real graph paper, notice this is over 3. So 1, 2, 3. Notice this one is over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Altogether, that's 8. So we're going to call base 1 8. Base 2 is over 2 from the center, from the y-intercept, and it's over another 2. So that one's 4. Base 2 is 4. Okay, notice when we take 8 plus 4, it's 12. Divided by 2 equals 6. So what this is right here ends up just being plain old 6. We take it times the height, which is 5, and we get our area. 30 units square is the answer. So 30 units square for that one. Okay, number 12. Number 12 looks tricky, but it's not as hard as it looks. If you look at number 12 and it says the formula for the following sequence is A, that little n there, equals n times n minus 1. All this is telling us is that this is like which number in the sequence. Is like if it would be 1, we'd use 1 for this, and we'd use 1 for all these n's. If it'd be 5, it's the 5th number in the sequence, then we would use 5, 5, and 5. Happens to be 10. So the 10th number in the sequence equals, substitute 10 for that, substitute 10 for that, minus 1. So remember order of operations, we need to do this first. This becomes 9. And then we just multiply. The answer is 90. So quite a few of you got that right on your test. Good job. And if you didn't get it right, that's okay. You'll get it. Number 12. Oh, that was number 12. Sorry. Number 13. What is the volume of the prism? So we have this, 8 inches. We have 6 inches. Kind of looks like this. Something like that. Okay, and this length is 12 inches. You guys all remember that volume equals base times height. The tricky part is deciding with a prism of any kind what the base is. And remember, the base does not have to be the bottom. It's the side that is the same on the top, or on one side and on the other side. This is the same as this. So this triangle will be the base of this prism. Remember to find area of a base. It's of a triangle. It's these two dimensions, 8 times 6 divided by 2. So we end up with 24 inches. And we take it times the height, which is 12 inches. I know it's kind of confusing. This doesn't look like height, but just imagine this prism flipped so that this is the base. It's sitting on the base, and that would be the height. So then we multiply 24 times 12. And again, I'm going to let you use your calculators at home. It's a little perk of being at home. We end up with 288. Volume is cubic inches. So 288 cubic inches. The next question uses this same shape, and they're asking for perimeter. They're trying to get us to use the Pythagorean theorem again, because we know this is a right triangle, because they put a little square in the corner. We know this side is A, we know, or 8, sorry. This side is 6, but we don't know the hypotenuse. Remember, the hypotenuse is C. So Pythagorean theorem, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I take 8. 8 squared plus 6 squared equals C squared. You all know 8 times 8 is 64. 6 times 6 is 36. If you look at that, I bet you already know that's going to equal 100. 100 equals C squared, which means C is going to equal 10. We can write it either way. So the side here is 10 inches. So knowing that, we know that perimeter is just adding those 3 together. 8 plus 10 is 18, plus 6. Perimeter equals 24. Okay, next one, 15. All right, number 15. We have 2 times x plus 2 equals x minus 9. I know this looks a little confusing at first, maybe, but remember we're using the distributive property first on this side. We take 2 times x, we get 2x plus, we take 2 times 2 is 4. I'm going to put these, just bring these down. Okay, so we have it set up like this. It's looking a little neater, but now what we need to do is move things so we have the variables on one side and the numbers not attached to variables on the other side. I'm going to choose to move this so I end up with an x that's positive. So remember, to move it, this is a positive x. We subtract it. And remember the property of math that says if you subtract something from one side, the equation is still balanced if you subtract it from the other side. 2x minus 1x is 1x plus 4 equals, this negative sign stays, negative 9. Notice I'm getting closer to solving it, but this 4 is a problem. I need to get that moved to the other side. So it's a positive 4. To move it, I subtract 4 from both sides. Okay. All that's left over here is 1x. I'm going to take a negative 9 and a negative 4, and that becomes negative 13. And that's my answer. Remember, I can just say x equals negative 13. Same thing. Okay, so that is number 15. 16 we're using kind of the same idea again. 16 says this, 3x plus 7 equals x plus 15. Okay, so again, I need to get my variables all together. I'm going to do the same thing where I'm choosing to move this one over here to keep things positive. This is a positive x. I'm going to subtract x from each side. I end up with 3x minus 1x, which is 2x. I still bring this down. I haven't moved that yet. This is gone. Notice 1x, positive x minus 1x. It's 0. It's gone. I still have a positive 15 over here. Next step, I need to move the 7 over. Since it is positive, I need to subtract it from both sides. I end up with 2x. This is gone. 15 minus 7 equals 8. And then this looks easy to all of you, I know. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 4. And that is number 16. Number 17 is next. Now this one also looks kind of scary. We have 3x to the negative first power, yx squared plus 2xy. Okay, so for somebody not studying math right now, they might be like, I have no idea. Remember, the most important thing about this is when you have a negative exponent, the way to make it positive is to move it to the bottom. Okay, so like the reciprocal of that is a positive x. So I'm going to move it from here and put it on the bottom. I'm going to keep these other things. Did I write that right? Yep. 2xy. Okay, so looking at this, looks a little better I know we can cancel out something. There's 1x here, x squared here, so I can get rid of this and get rid of that extra x. Do you see what I have left? I have 3, I'm going to rename it xy, okay, because I can switch around things with that multiplication property. 3xy plus 2xy, and since these have the same two variables, sometimes we call it like the same last name, we can add them together. So 5xy is our answer. That is number 17. Number 18, I know these are kind of hard yet. 18 is the square root of 6 times the square root of 12. There are maybe different ways some of you did this. What I did is I put these together. That means the same thing. 12 times 6 is 72. These things are all the same. I like to do it this way because then I can take 72 and I can factor it. Remember to start with 2. 2 times 36, 72. Okay, 2 is another prime factor. 2 times 18 is 36. I can still use 2. 2 times 9. Okay, now 9, I can't use 2 anymore. I go to 3 times 3, and I'm left with only prime factors. If I put all of those prime factors under my square root sign, it's going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. And double check to make sure you have that. Okay, looking at this is where it gets tricky, I know. How do I explain this in a good way? Remember we put these into groups of 2? And because like this group of 2 is like a 4, we know that the square root of 4 is plain old 2. We can take it out of here and have 2 on the outside. These two together, it's like saying the square root of 9. We know the square root of 9 is 3. I can put that out here. Notice the only thing left in there is 2. It doesn't have a partner. So we're going to keep that as the square root of 2. On the outside, this answer is kind of correct but not fully solved because 2 times 3 we say is 6. And that's our answer. 6 times the square root of 2. We'll get more of those if that doesn't make sense. But yeah, hopefully just kind of think of that like that. And remember when they're in here, if they're in pairs, the other way, the way the book showed is how you can say 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. Maybe looking at that is easier because that we know we can just make 2 times the square root of 2 times 3, and then this moves over times the 2. Okay, almost done, you guys. Number 19 is next. Okay, 19 says 1 hour, 20 minutes, 45 seconds, plus 2 hours, 45 minutes, 30 seconds. So the first thing I'm going to do is just add them, straight up add them together. So 75 seconds, 20 plus 45 is 65 minutes, 1 plus 2 is 3 hours. Okay, the answer is not correct yet because we can rename these things. So 75 seconds, if I take out 60 seconds, because that's a minute, I can add a minute over here. Oh, what was that before? 65. So 66 minutes, and I'm left with 15 seconds over here. Okay, so that's not quite done because we know 66 minutes is over an hour. So we know 60 minutes in an hour. I can take out 60 minutes, move it over here to 4 hours, and what's left is 6 minutes. Okay, so that's our answer for number 19. Number 20, we have 3 yards, 1 foot, 2 inches, minus 1 yard, 1 foot, 6 inches. So first of all, I'm going to subtract. Notice it's subtracting. 2 take away 6 I can't do. I need to borrow from this. 1 foot, I'm going to cross that out. That's 12 inches, right? So I'm going to add 12 inches. 12 plus 2, this becomes 14. 14 inches minus 6, I have 8 inches left. Okay, now I have a problem because I have 0 feet minus 1 foot. I mean, we can't really do that. So I'm going to borrow from here. I'm going to cross out one of the yards. It becomes 2. But since 1 yard is actually equal to how many feet? 3 feet. 3 feet minus 1 foot is 2 feet. 2 yards minus 1 yard, 1 yard. And so that is my answer. 1 yard, 2 feet, 8 inches. And we're done. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening.